What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. Former unified welterweight champion Jarron Ennis is looking to move up to 154 pounds. He'll be looking to become world champion in the second weight class. Now, there's been some conflicting reports coming out to what he plans to do in his first fight at 154. Some people saying that he wants to have a tune-up or two. Other people saying, nah, he didn't say that. But when you look at the opponent that is being looked at for his first fight at 154, yeah, he's looking for a tune-up. Josh Kelly, who has a record of 17 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. When you look at his resume, he's fought absolutely nobody outside of David Avanesian. He lost that fight. That was supposed to be a fight to put him on the map, and he got knocked off. And ever since then, he's been in there with some nondescript opponents, and he really ain't fought nobody. He ain't beat nobody of note. But he does have a following in the UK. Maybe they could put that fight on in Ennis' hometown of Philadelphia, or maybe even Atlantic City, which was the last fight that he fought in when he defeated WBA welterweight champion Matis Sionis, which arguably was Ennis' finest performance. With all that being said, Boots says the reason why he's going up to 154 is because he has not been able to perform at his best. He went to go see a doctor. The doctor said he'd been performing in recent fights at 30% of his capabilities. That's great, man, if he's able to do what he did to Sionis on 30%, man. I can't wait till he get to 154 and fight the top fighters at 100%. But wait, he ain't gonna do that. He's taking a tune-up. You see how that don't add up? That don't jive? If you're fighting and dominating Sionis, a world champion with 30%, and you're going to be at 100% when you go up to 154 or close to 100%, why are you fighting Josh Kelly? You want to dip your toe at 154. You want to get your feet wet in the junior middleweight division. You don't want to, jump into the shark-infested waters of 154 pounds. You don't want to take on the likes of Sebastian Fundora, Bakram Martartaliev, as I butcher his last name, or Xandar Zayas. Now, Xandar Zayas is a key name here because Eddie Hearn, who promotes Boots Ennis, say that they have offered Josh Kelly to fight for Boots Ennis, and it's going to be a WBO eliminator. So the winner of that fight will be in prime position to take on the WBO champion Xandar Zayas. Now, Zayas just won a vacant belt, and when you win a vacant belt, you're supposed to have back-to-back mandatories. You're supposed to fight 2 mandatories in a row. Josh Kelly is the highest-ranked fighter in the WBO, so why don't he just wait for his opportunity to fight Xandar Zayas for the belt instead of fighting a dangerous opponent and Boots Ennis for no belt? Why would he do that unless you offer him the bag? And for what I know, Turkey Al-Sheikh, who could offer him that type of money to maybe turn down a title opportunity, is not involved in this fight. He said he don't want no part of Jarron Boots Ennis in this tune-up fight. He said he's not charity. When Boots Ennis ready to get in there and swim with the big fish, then come talk to him. But he ain't interested in no opponent of the caliber of a Josh Kelly. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But I heard before they offered Josh Kelly to fight, they offered Sergey Boychuk to fight, but Boychuk turned it down. He wasn't happy with the money. Boychuk would have qualified as a top contender at 154 pounds. You couldn't call Boychuk a tune-up. A lot of people thought he beat Victor Ortiz. My bad, Virgil Ortiz, in that Fight of the Year candidate that took place late last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, and after that, I think he beat Michael Fox, who was a decent fighter at 154 pounds. A lot of people say he didn't look good in that fight, but he was fighting a guy much different than his last opponent. Stylistically, 360-degree difference between Virgil Ortiz, who's a come-forward, aggressive fighter, throwing punches and bunches, and then you fighting a guy that's Michael Fox, who's more of a defensive fighter, technical fighter, a guy that's all about the sweet signs, hit and don't get hit type of fighter. It's hard to look good against that fighter if you don't know how to cut off the ring, if you don't know how to go to the body, you don't know how to conquer that style of fighter, especially if you got slow feet like Bullshit got. So that was just a bad stylistic matchup. But he got the job done. He got the W. But the money that offered him wasn't to his liking, and he turned down the fight from what I heard. So now they go to plan B, and that is Josh Kelly. And Josh Kelly has a name, and he probably better bring some fans from the UK out to the fight with Boots, whether it be in Boots' hometown of Philadelphia or Atlantic City, the destination of when he became unified welterweight champion. I'm not excited about this fight at all. Josh Kelly, just a guy that a lot of people had high hopes when he first came onto the scene. He was called the UK version of Roy Jones Jr. when he first came out. He had a very, very elusive style, a very, very exciting style in my opinion, but he just, defense wasn't up to par. He wasn't as athletic as Roy Jones, didn't have the power of Roy Jones Jr., didn't have the mindset of a Roy Jones Jr. When he got in there with a tough, physical, strong-minded fighter in David Avenesian, he made him quit. Got stopped in that fight. Waved the white flag. That was a TKO stoppage. And that kind of said a lot about Josh Kelly. Since then, he really ain't fought nobody. He's won, I think, 5 in a row. Or 6 in a row, I can't remember, but it's been against some nondescript opponents. And now he jumps back in on the big stage with a tougher opponent than he did when he first jumped on that big stage when he took on David Avenesian. And that fight was in his home country of the UK. Now he's going to probably be going on the road to take on the Boots Ennis fight if he accepts the offer, which I have my doubts and reservations that he will do. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Eddie Hearn, the P. Diddy of boxing promoters, always in the video, came out and said today that they have offered Josh Kelly the fight. And if the fight takes place, it will be for the WBO elimination bout. So the winner will be in prime position to take on the WBO champion, Xandar Zayas. But again, it really don't make no sense if I'm managing or I'm part of Josh Kelly's team. Why would I take that fight when I could just get a direct shot at the champion? I'm next in line. I get first dibs on the WBO champion, Xandar Zayas, a young fighter. Got his biggest win of his career this past Saturday. He's going to be defending that belt. Maybe my promotional company can bid on him. We go to a purse bid, we can bid on him, get him to come to the UK, and I'll try to right the wrong and win a big fight that I wasn't able to do when I fought David Avenesian and beat Xandar Zayas to become the WBO junior middleweight champion. I think I'll probably go down that road instead of getting on the plane, flying out to the East Coast and getting knocked out, because that's what's going to happen. Or get brutally stopped by a ferocious Philly fighter by the name of Jarron Ennis. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about that matchup. You like the matchup between Jarron Ennis versus Josh Kelly, or you think that Ennis can find a more credible, more accomplished opponent at 154 pounds? Or do you say, well, now let the man get his feet wet? Turkey out of Sheik ain't going to be putting on a fight. Eddie Hearn will be putting that fight on with Matchroom Boxing on the zone. Let him go and get that fight out the way, and then if he do that again in the second fight, then maybe we might have something to say. But let him get his feet wet at 154 pounds. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And let me know your thoughts about what you think Josh Kelly should do. Should he take the fight with Boots, or should he just wait for his direct shot at the champion, Xandar Zayas, and maybe negotiate? And if you don't negotiate, maybe the fight go to a purse bid. Maybe you go negotiate, you can't come to a deal on a negotiation, or maybe you don't want to come to an agreement. Maybe you want the fight to go to purse bid, or your promotional company, Katie Sarlin, who runs Wasserman Promotions, can outbid Matchroom Boxing, which I believe is highly unlikely. I don't think they'll be able to outbid Matchroom. Matchroom Boxing is a much more profitable, much more successful promotional company, so I have a hard time believing Wasserman. But you never know with these purse bids. You never know. You bid on the fight what you think it's worth, and somebody might come in with some crazy money because they might be like, we're going to take this loss, but we want this fight in the UK. And we want our guy, Josh Kelly, to become a champion. Once he wins that belt, then we'll be able to make that money up when he'll have a couple of defenses, hopefully over there in the UK against some fighters that we believe that we can defeat, and we'll be able to make that money back and then some. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Follow me on TikTok at JB Sports New Media. Follow me on Twitch at Briscoe MA77071. Follow me on my YouTube channels at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 9656, and at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 8000. And like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holler.